Well, I'm in the midst of drilling out more tack welds than I know what to fucking do with. I stepped up to a bigger drill bit. My grandpa actually made this drill bit. He was an electrician. So he's even helping here now. Free home delivery and our frequent buyer program at Alaska Mill and Feed today. Get 3 years warranty coverage plus. 600. 2019. MXZ's Renegade and Backcountry models on a free credit. Got the winter blues. This might just be the. If you're looking for the ultimate side by side for winter fun and function, check out the Capable and Clever 2018 ATVs and side by side driving. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AK90. Visit us at 3222 Commercial Drive or Snowmobile, ATV, and side-by-side vehicles today. That's loose. One more. If your job isn't evolving, it's time for a change. If you're an experienced junior-level technician, you've got the skills. RWC Group is hiring truck and diesel technicians, offering top wages, pay bonuses, and 10 work weeks. But you sure will this summer. RWC specializes in diesel technicians to work in a brand new state-of-the-art shop. Apply today at RWC.com. The radio app is more than just radio. Well, we have podcasts too. And in one day, the Ron Burgundy podcast. From the iHeartRadio app, gives you a load of time to discuss anything. Yeah, there's one more right there. Oh, that satisfying pop. Like this last one, I piloted the other ones. We'll see if this drill bit can actually just do it without a pilot. Yeah, I think it's going to need a pilot. Your Radio Rambler Alice Cooper is here to take you away, just like Polygon. The water or bubble, so none of you get that one. None of you get that culture. Unless you're a niche. Now let's start off this song. We're a band who said we'll get back together in this lifetime. Well, this may have popped with a little drill bit. That one did. Now, Grandpa's got to come back out. Hanging on to the bitter end. Come on. there's one more. Ah. Grandpa's too big. Come on now. Ah! Success. I know it was a lot of work to try to save a rusted out piece, but this is going to be a pattern. So I'll straighten it out and it'll be plenty good for a pattern. I got to make one of these and one of these, the one that goes underneath. They're pretty bad shape. You can get them from the Roadster factory, but they're kind of expensive and they're not that complicated. And I have access to a big metal brake, so I'll be able to bend the flanges and everything. So you can fast forward through that if you really want. It's kind of boring, and boy, I tell you what, drilling all these tack welds is very boring. All right, to spare you all the sordid tack weld drilling and grinding it took, this is now off. Now it's time for a little cutting torch action. That tub's got to come off. Well, it's a nice balmy 30 degrees out. I didn't want to fill the shop up with smoke. Quickest way I know how to remove this, I don't have to be pretty about it. wasn't that fun. Okay, now it's time to start getting parts ready to go on the car, or construct the car out of the parts I got. Just rusted out down here, little dent right here. I think I saved the ones off the other car good enough to make patterns for this bottom panel and this panel here. And it shouldn't take much to get these off. Most of the spots kind of rusty. I think everything else is pretty good. So, funny how some things rust on one car and not the other, and also a lot of undercoating on this one that'll come off. And I think I'm going to have to place these closing panels possibly, and possibly the mounts. I don't know, they're not very expensive, so I may be doing those. I can't do the butchering I did on the couple of days ago on that other 60. Have to be a little more surgical now. This part, these stuff I'm going to save. That's a nice, pretty clean steel underneath this undercoating. It's not coming off too bad. Alright, I'm going to continue on with this and bring you back. The glamorous side of restoring a car. The long, boring hours of cleaning up stuff. Figuring out what you're going to save and what you're going to cut off. Well, I think I've reached a milestone pretty much, sort of, in a way. I'm done with the wholesale butchery, I think, so you can all relax. Now it's more surgical, cleaning stuff up and hopefully start maybe putting a few things back together again. I'm not quite certain when a car that you're restoring or trying to save, at what point do you figure out that that car really isn't there anymore? No, I'm sure this is raged in that on websites all over the place. But thinking about how much of my original car is still going to be there, just so I could save something, is not a whole lot. But it's going to have a little bit of the race car in it, which is from my past. This other 60 I just tore apart, I have no association with whatsoever, other than I bought it and gutted it. as you saw. It made it disappear. But the frame from under that car is going under the project because it's by far the best frame and the least amount of work. I mean, yeah, I could fix the original frame, but it'll never be as good as one that's not been repaired. Not to mention just the hours involved to doing that is pretty tremendous, actually. I don't have any doubts that I can do it. Not the question. The question is, how many years do I want to be doing this project to have a car to drive? Now, what's going to be left of Penny is the on sheet metal is the hood, the windshield, the roof, the hardtop, the front cowl, the rear scuttle, I guess they call it, the rear trunk lid, the boot lid, the doors will be all from the original car. Engine, transmission, dash, all the instruments, even the seat pans are from her. So there's a bit of her still there. The back seat, the occasional back seat, which is pretty rare. But rear end's not going to be there because it's a major weak point, I guess, in these early tr3s. So I've got two Girling rear ends now to choose from. So they're by far mo better. And the wire wheels will be original, but of course I got to put adapters on now, so I got to buy all new adapters. And front drum brakes aren't going to be there anymore. They're just, that's kind of a safety issue. And at this point I can't worry too much about originality. I guess I'm going to build it the way that I kind of envision it, and it's going to be set up for rally. Although I probably won't rally it, it'll just be fun to set it up like a rally car. And since I have a racing background, I kind of enjoy that, so it'll be fun to make it set up like an old Works rally car. Matter of fact, I have a decal in the making, a Works decal. And, I'll get some extra ones made when I finally do it. A friend of mine owns a decal shop up here, and he makes a lot of the decals for our rides and personally for stuff for me for my business and things. And I'm going to have him, got one worked up in my mind to have him recreate basically a Union Jack, and then over the top of the Union Jack it'll say Works, and on the bottom it'll say Equipped. So it'll be kind of a neat decal. It won't be it'll probably be about 2" by 3" or something long, not a real big one. So I'll show those off when I finally get those made up, and I'll have a few extra. I'll have, because it's cheaper to have them do a production run of that than it is just one. And sometimes he just does it pro bono for me, which is awful nice, because it's expensive having stuff like that kind of created. So that's nice of him. He's one of my riding partners. Him and me almost died together on a ride. Matter of fact, me more than him. He thought for sure I was dead. And that was his comment after the incident. The truck that turned right in front of me as I was passing him at 100 miles an hour. I was running a ton, and the truck turned right in front of me across the lane. And there was no way I could miss him. I mean, it was going to be head on, you know, full blow. And for some reason, the guy jerked the wheel to the other direction and went into the ditch trying to avoid us as I blew by him. And my friend was right behind me. He says, I was thinking I could stop, but there was no way you could have stopped. So we've had a lot of adventures, I guess, if you want to call them that. So he's we'll make up these decals, and actually another decal I want for the car too. So something else in the works. Not that I need this stuff anytime soon. It's just fun to think about it, I guess, as you're doing this drudgery of cleanup and getting things to where you can start putting it back together. A piece I just pulled off the bottom of the rear apron was pretty damn rusty. It came out real easy, and luckily so far it looks like the rear apron, it needs a few little repairs here and there where the edge is rusted, but overall it appears to be really good. The closing panels are shot bad enough where it's not worth trying to save them, but all the surroundings seem to be okay, so that's a plus. And, yeah, I know I could grind this stuff off, but I hate grinding in the shop. I'd rather sit here and carry on a conversation with a damn camera. and do this. You know, it's 1 in the morning. It seems to be when I work the best. It's early in the morning, I guess. Less distractions. Turn up the radio and start in. I could be out here until 4 or 5 this morning. And next time I look up the clock, it may be what it is. Yeah, a little rust on that edge too that's going to have to be repaired. I can cut that bit off a penny. It's about what's left of her rear apron and repair that. So we'll get her fixed. Can't afford to do it any other way. These panels are just too expensive. And for me, like a lot of you out there, the shipping is what really kills you. Not only the raping that you take from Moss and well, actually all of them, Victoria British, Roaster Factory, they all do the same thing to you. Charge you by the dollar figure and not the freight, the weight, and oversized charges. So that's really kind of sucks. Anyway, between these 3 cars, one will emerge. A bit of a Mongol, I guess, or Frankenstein car, I guess, in a way. But I'll finally get my car after waiting all this time. So, well, I guess I'll go back to what I'm doing here. I talked enough. I think the grinder's going to have to come out here in a minute, do a little bit of noise, making it a mess. Yeah, that edge is pretty nice. Some little spots have to be repaired, but overall it's workable. Well, out here drilling tack welds out again. I've only got a couple of chunks of the floor left. This side's clean now. Now I gotta flip it over and do that one up there. And the entire floor has been surgically removed. Now I gotta clean up the all the areas and stuff. A friend of mine's got a pressure blast sandblaster that I can borrow anytime, so I'm gonna take her outside and blast out all these nooks and crannies and pockets, and probably POR them, or of course seam seal stuff, and do stuff that the factory never did. But at least this ow, damn. All this area here, I still got a few bits of pieces to peel off there, and I'm gonna have to repair a couple little edges here somewhere. And there's a teeny hole right there. But overall, it's in pretty good shape. She's scaly, but it'll blast up good, solid enough for as long as I'm gonna drive the car. But it's funny, they never did any protection in there whatsoever in the factory. So get the blaster out here. Of course, I'm doing this outside. I ain't doing it in the shop. I know what kind of mess that caused. And I'm just going to blast in these inner areas here. The whole body will end up getting cleaned when I'm done putting it together. But right now, this is all going to get sealed back up again, and I got to take care of it now. I got this lip straightened out. It was dented in a bit, but it still needs a teeny bit of work, but pretty good shape. And I had the hole for the tire was a little askew, I guess, from being hit here. It pushed this up, so I had my big block of wood and a mallet and knocked it down until the door just drops in nice. Now I see if I can get a decent line all the way around it, but things are looking much better there. So it doesn't scratch the paint every time you stuff the door back in there. But I got to go over to my friend's house with a plasma cutter and cut these off so I can fill those in. So this back end's quite a bit of work, but at least it's in decent shape to graft onto Penny over there. Because her back end is just absolutely shot, and that's how it came. Just no corners, everything rotted off completely. So that's it for now. I'll probably do a little video on what I'm doing, what I'm up to now, and then come in when the sandblaster gets in. Right now it's 0 outside, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and my buddy was worried about the steel heating up from sandblasting, and I says, I think it's 0 degrees out or so, it'll probably be all right. So, but I'm not going to do this whole thing, just the sealed, enclosed areas. Oh, the Snap-on girl is telling me it's 10:45. I work a couple more hours. Okay, later.